Tony, Griffin was quiet for most of the game. Then he ended up with 10, I think, in the final 3.5 or so. Was this a case, as you talk about, of just a guy making a play at the end of the game, or plays in this case?
Yeah, it was a hard-fought game. Both teams played, I thought, extremely hard. You could feel that electric atmosphere. All that stuff was there. I say sometimes the game comes down to can you make a play, and they made some really impressive plays. Roach hit some tough shots. Yes, we had a turnover and a couple of breakdowns, but Griffin hitting some of those shots, and then the plays that they made, it was tough. Hard matchup. We didn't know with Caden in, did we want to put him on Paulo? When they went small, we didn't quite have a matchup. We tried Cody, so a lot of things you looked at, and he did hit some tough shots. And I'll see on film if they were real tough. They felt like a lot of big-time plays were made down the stretch. We made some plays at their place that just pushed it over the edge, and they certainly made a few more here. And they were tough defensively, around the lane. I thought we got some good looks and all that, but we had some trouble finishing around the basket, and just some key plays here and there that were costly.
Hey, Coach. You gave a really heartfelt speech about Coach K before the beginning of the game. How much of that was rehearsed, or did that just kind of come flowing out of you?
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. I thought about some remarks right before the game. I didn't know if we were going to do that or not, and I appreciate our crowd being classy. Obviously I get booed when I walk out on role plays and all that, but I wanted, again, as I said, his contributions, they're monumental to the game, to the modern game of basketball and college basketball. And, when someone can last that long and do what he's done, and, again, it was the right thing to do. So I don't have a speechwriter or anything like that. I thought about that.
I'll volunteer for that job. Kihei's big first half, the 6 threes. What did you guys do to get him those open looks?
Yeah, he kept us in it. He shot a pull-up three, and I told him, I said, if you're going to do that, you better make it, because he kept us in it offensively, was moving hard. He just kind of got in the zone, and the guys were finding him. And, again, I think Duke really guarded us pretty hard, so we had to work. It was a physical game where you had to cut and move without the ball and find openings. And, Kihei was really all we had pretty much early. But I liked how our guys in the second half found the lane a little more, and made some plays, and Jayden got going, and Reese did. But yeah, that was quite a first half shooting performance by him.
Did they do anything different in the paint area? I think you guys had 52 points in the paint in that first matchup, and then tonight just 20.
Yeah, we scored. We made a few more plays in the paint. I think Mark was kind of zoning up, and Mark Williams and big in the paint, and tried to get to the elbows and make some plays off of that. Just missed some shots, and in the game down there, I think we had a few post moves and nice offensive putbacks. To me, that you look at it again. We only had 6 turnovers, 1 in the second half, and had the assists, but we couldn't get many of those, like either at the line or offensive putbacks to keep stuff alive. And then when we had some opportunities, we didn't finish, and that hurt. And then they capitalized. There's some big swings, 5-point swings, where they went down. So, but they tightened some things up for sure.
Tony, you mentioned the small ball lineup that they went to down the stretch. That's a lineup that they played early in the season, but I don't think we'd seen much of it in the last few games. I don't know if I'm not going to say you were unprepared for it, but was it something that caught you a little off balance?
No, we thought they would. And that's always, again, our personnel, like, how do you match up with them? We thought, okay, they might switch a little more if they're in it, but what are the matchups? We talked about that a lot before, and we just said, okay, times maybe we got to go small. Can we get a matchup? Because pick your poison. You put, Griffin was kind of quiet, so we said, okay, Caden, he hadn't shot it well. Just try to get to his shot. And then I thought Jayden Gardner slid as hard and well on Paulo. That was impressive. And then when he started going, we switched it off. So that's hard. But I don't want to say I was hoping they wouldn't go to it. I was hoping, but we thought they might, and that was hard for a stop. And again, they still had to make the baskets, and they sure did.
Tony, it looked like maybe in the first half, guys were almost like the crowd was almost too juiced for them. They seemed a little, Kihei was fine, but everybody else seemed a little exhausted. How proud were you in the second half that they were able to kind of fight through that, get through that, explore like the way to get settled down in the second half?
We talked about it. I just said, I told them yesterday before the game, I said, there is zero room for arrogance or pride in this game. I said there's a bunch of room for humility and tough passion and what our program's about. But the last thing I said is, don't make too big a deal of this. This is an important game. Go play. And then we'll have 2 more important games and go from there. So I just think Duke they were tough. And maybe that excitement, I can't tell you. I guess you're right. Kihei's probably the one who's maybe been in that setting, but I'm not sure. They defended us well and took us a while to figure it out and have a little patience. I think some guys were, a little anxious with some of the shots. And when Duke guards like that and plays like that and scores, you see their talent and their ability to be a really, really special team.
Tony, you just mentioned a little bit earlier Jayden's sly and just overall defense on Banchero. I mean, that's 2 games in a row you've held him to single digits. What exactly does Jayden do that very few other teams have been able to do?
It's impressive how much he's improved his slides. He's physical himself. I mean, you just look at him, he's sturdy built. And so I think, he can absorb when he's going. He can absorb, if there's contact and stay in front. And we were trying to help. And again, the one thing Duke did today, when we had a breakdown, they made us pay, and that's what good teams do. We had just a few too many, whether we just, a breakdown here or there. But I think Jayden's physicality, and he's worked hard on his slides, and we tried to give him help, and he was engaged and locked in. Like the one time he didn't block out, then Paulo got it and put it back in. That was the one time, and he made him pay on that.
Tony, you talked about the energy and effort these games require. What's the toughest part in your experience about bouncing back and getting ready for another one?
You always have to bounce back. We play a team that's very talented with Florida State, and again, each game is meaningful to us. So, I just get ready. I don't have any magic quote or formula for it, but try to be smart tomorrow, see what we have to do, and then know that we got a team coming in and play the right way.
You guys weren't able to pull this one out, but you played them close twice, able to beat them last game. What's your message to the team as you guys try to move on for the rest of the season?
I complimented them, didn't go over the top. I just said, look, you battled, and you found a way in the second half to get back in that game. But let's learn from maybe some areas where we were a little loose and try to tighten them up. You're never going to be perfect, but we always talk about it. Fail better, and next time let's just be a little better. Who knows if we'll see Duke again, but playing Florida State, let's tighten the screws in those areas, grow from this game, and be thankful and grateful for the next opportunity.